Today I want to talk about serving your earthly masters. Scriptures talk about how it's necessary to serve your earthly masters as if you were serving your master in heaven, right? If you're a Christian and you believe that Christ is truly your master in heaven, then you should be praying for, working hard for your earthly master. Okay. Now, for some folks, and if that's you watching this video, you might be in a forced servanthood, right? So you might be an actual slave. Um, and prayerfully, they are not going to be mistreating you. But as we've seen, the tendency with slavery systems is that they tend towards a corruptibility, Um, so if you're in that situation, I hope you can get out and find a master that is not going to treat you that way. Not everybody is cut out to be a master. Okay, there are stricter expectations on masters. To not be stealing the wages of their workers. There's that saying that's like, "Do not muzzle the ox while it's treading out the corn." Some of the increase of your particular industry should be going towards the workers. Okay, they need to feel some sort of ownership, some sort of pride over the business that is technically yours or the estate that is technically yours, but still they can feel a sense of belonging to that enterprise, right? And I've had my fair share of bosses. And I've had good bosses and bad bosses. I've had bosses who were very diligent and very good at what they did, and others that were a little more slack and not so good at what they did. But, typically what you find is that a good boss is going to respect what you have to say, respect you as a professional, pay you a workable wage or compensate you in some way. Some places will compensate you with pizza parties, which every once in a while is nice, to not have to buy your own food and you get a free meal out of it. That's a form of gratitude and compensation as well. But of course, that base salary to be able to live in whichever society that you're living in is going to be one of the main takeaways, right? So if you're in a situation where you can choose your master, you need to really look for a person of integrity, right? It's okay to not be the boss. You can be the servant. You could be the servant for a long time, and you need to humble yourself and be willing to be the servant. Or sometimes servant and slave gets mixed up in the Bible. But there is kind of a difference, because like I think it's in like Deuteronomy or Exodus, where there's a law about slaves. They have to serve you for like 7 years, right? And then after the 7 years, they can choose either you're going to give them their freedom, or you can choose to continue working for them. And you can like get your ear pierced, and that's a sign that you are a lifelong slave for this master's household, you know? And if you were to be a lifetime servant to a great person, like that's an honorable thing. It's like, oh, whoa, you work for I guess our modern thing would be like Elon Musk. Oh my gosh, you're like the personal assistant to Elon Musk. Like you help run his household. Like you might just be like cleaning toilets or something all day. But if you do it and you love what you do, and you do it with diligence, and you do it with a certain virtue about you, then yeah, man, that's great. And if they're compensating you in a proper way, not mistreating you, respecting your opinion on matters pertaining to your job, I think that's a wonderful thing. Be the best toilet cleaner you can be, right? Serve your earthly masters as if you were serving your heavenly master. If you were in heaven, and I don't know that, in heaven anyone would have bowel movements, but if there were toilets in heaven, would you clean them? I would. If God was like, hey, I have selected to be my personal toilet cleaner. Yes, sir, I will do your command. I will do your bidding, right? And you're going to clean those toilets as if you were cleaning God's toilets. I don't know why I'm so fixated on this toilet analogy, but anyway, yeah, man, that's just things that I'm thinking about. And like, not everybody is fit to be a good boss. Like, a lot of them will just, showboat. You ever have one of those bosses that just like rolls up in the fancy car, goes in the office, drinks fancy coffee out of a fancy cup, and brags about how he got all of his success. And meanwhile you're sitting there, you're just trying to like get a paycheck so that you can feed your kids or something. Anyway, like everybody knows a bad boss after a certain amount of time. What's real bad is if they appear to be a good boss, but then they're actually like undercutting you in some way. Like, they give you the job, they give you a reasonable wage, but then they don't know how to train you. Right to your face, they're very friendly, they're very kind, they're very respectful, but they don't train you. They see you struggle in the job and they kind of put it back on you for not understanding things. But really, it's because like either there was no training manual or there was no instruction on what you're supposed to do, and then everything that happens gets put back on you instead of put back on your boss, who was the one who was responsible to do it in the first place for the company, right? That can absolutely be one of those situations where you get put out to pasture by your boss. So it's just a thought I was trying to work through, like, trying to work hard and not complain about things that don't need to be complained about. Just putting your head down and doing what you need to do. Obviously, if there's something that needs to be fixed, like a good boss is going to listen to what you have to say and either ask you for what you think would be the good solution, or maybe they have more experience and they can give you a better solution. But um, a bad boss is going to hear that and like think that the problem's with you, think that you complain too much. If it's a genuine like thing that needs to be fixed, then they shouldn't do that. You know. At the same time, the masters of the world have to have a certain sense for people, right? Because you can't just be out here hiring folks who are going to basically destroy the company. That's not good for anyone, because the other people who are working there who are doing a good job, they don't deserve that. They don't deserve to have somebody on the team who's going to drag them down and make the company less profitable, make the company less stable. Job security is a big thing. That's what my dad used to always talk about: job security this, job security that, because it's true. Like if the company goes under, oh, sorry, we're going to have to lay off 20,000 people. Oh, what happened? Oh, well, John in IT messed something up. He wasn't paying attention and he deleted the you know way to pay for this particular thing, so we were giving it out for free on accident, or I don't know. There's any number of situations that can occur with that. You get what I'm saying. Now, there are other kinds of masters that you can get into that you should absolutely avoid, which of course would be like debt. Don't borrow money, because the debtor is slave to the lender, and not the good kind of slave where you get the benefits and the severance package. It's the kind of slavery where they've got that interest on there, and really they would rather have the payments with the higher overall amount because of the interest than for you to just pay it back immediately. So don't get into deep debt, because that never ends well. Even if you are like, I don't know, when would you be in a situation where you would need debt? Because the Bible does say that you should loan to the poor and not charge interest, and not expect it to be paid back, and don't take certain things for collateral. You'll become a slave to that person or to that company. And what's worse than being a slave to a corporation that's like basically faceless? You can't even sit down and have a conversation with them, because you're not even really talking to the company. You're probably talking to like a call center or something. In terms of earthly masters, some people think that they are their own earthly master, or that they somehow are not accountable to anyone, that they're fully self-sufficient. Um, Unless you are like literally just living in the woods by yourself, um, being completely self-sufficient, you've gotten everything that you possibly needed uh, from just the land around you, no man-made tools or anything like that. Like you made all your tools. Like you're really, I don't know, man. This just seems like a very prideful thing to say, that you're self-sufficient. The Bible even talks about how it's a foolish thing to think that you're self-sufficient. Um, and it's especially if you're living in the world and you're like, communicating with other people, and you're in like a, maybe even you think you're self-sufficient because you have a lot of money. This is not the case, my friend. This is not the case. If you were to be um, going out and about, and everybody else disappeared, and all you had was your money, that's not self-sufficiency. Okay. Like, you have been relying on other people to accept the money that you have, however you got it, and you have been relying on those people. So be a little humble about it. Even if you have some money, like, um, that's not always necessarily a bad thing, but be wise with it. Know that you need to support the people who are supporting you, and sometimes that's going to come around about in a very roundabout way. You see what I mean? Um, you helping somebody who's like on the street homeless might not have very obvious repercussions right away, but hey, what if you help them to survive one extra day so they could go to a job interview where they got a stable job? And maybe they're even like end up like, how do I put this? Without getting too far into all the possibilities of the universe, let's say that that person gets a job as a vending machine mechanic. They go and they fix the vending machine at a hospital. The person who is about to do, brain surgery on a teacher manages to get the caffeine that they need to stay alert during their surgery from that vending machine. Maybe they get like a tea, or if you do one of those, like a, what's it called? Like one of those coffees or espresso things, what I'm talking about, energy drinks. Um, so they have the caffeination, stay alert during the surgery. The brain surgery goes well. That teacher then teaches the nurse that ends up being at your bedside when you need it. You see what I mean? Like, things are so circular, even like, even small acts of kindness have larger repercussions in the world. I think it was Saint Seraphim Sarov who said that if you can find peace, then 1,000 people will be saved around you. If you can find peace, 1,000 people will be saved around you. And part of that peace comes from recognizing your place in the world. Don't have this selfish ambition that you're just going to make a bunch of money and then that makes you self-sufficient, okay? Because you're still going to have to rely on people in the community around you, or from around the world. Like with globalism and global capitalism, all of these little supply chains are interconnected. And if you start messing with things, then it changes the dynamic. People get left out. And one day it might be you. It might be you one day. So just keep that in mind. Um, it's a good note on humility, a good note on like thinking that you're self-mastered. We should have self-control. We should have self-discipline. But don't think that you are your own master, because you have masters on earth. Even the King of England has masters, because, uh, you know, in the back of his mind, there's always the possibility, if I do something that people don't like enough, they're going to come for me, right? And if I do something bad enough, even my own guards are just going to let them in, right? So let that sink in, and don't have too big of a head. Thank you. Be good to your earthly masters. Pray for them. Pray for their families. Pray that they would be good managers, good leaders, and good business owners. Amen.